everyone, I'm Daniela and welcome back to Black Cat Kitchen. Today we're making a super soft, squishy white sandwich bread. As food prices continue to skyrocket, it makes a lot of sense to make your own bread at home. There's not much to this recipe, so let's jump into it.
You'll find a list of ingredients and measurements in the description below. Into a mixing bowl, add 177 milliliters of warm water and 14 grams of active dry yeast. Give that a little swish with your whisk to get it working. Let's give that 5 minutes. To our bubbly yeast mixture, add 600 to 700 grams of bread flour. You want to use bread flour here so that the gluten really develops. We're using a total of 1,200 grams of flour. In go 17 grams of salt, 52 grams of granulated sugar, and 44 grams of unsalted butter that's been softened. Start that mixing and then gradually add in 630 milliliters of warm water. Once that's started to come together, slowly add in the rest of your flour, about 500 to 600 grams, depending on how much you used earlier. I like to hold back about a cup of flour, just so that we can gauge the consistency of the dough. Too much flour will cause the crumb to be really tight and it won't have a nice rise.
Once the ingredients are just brought together, we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes to just start to absorb all of those liquids.
Once it's rested, turn your mixer back on to knead the bread. You want it to come away from the side of the bowl. If it's not doing that, you may have to add in a little bit more of that flour. You want your dough to be a little bit tacky but not sticky, and you'll want to be able to pull a piece up without it splitting apart so that you can see the light through. This is called the window pane test. Time to move your dough into a greased bowl. I've greased mine with butter, and once it's in there, give your dough a flip so that the top of the dough has butter on it as well. We're going to cover this up for about an hour or until it's doubled in size. Now we've got this beautiful, springy, bouncy dough. We're going to turn it out onto our work surface and knock out all of the air. I like to form mine into a rectangle and then slice it into 2 pieces, roughly the same size as our loaf tins. They don't have to be perfect, but the more even you cut them now, the more consistent your loaves will be. Let's set one of our pieces to the side. I'm going to gently stretch out my dough so it's roughly 3 times as long as it is wide. Now starting from the short end, roll your dough all the way to the other end. You want this to be a nice tight roll so that you don't have any air pockets in your loaf. Make sure your seam is really well pinched so that it doesn't spread apart in the oven. This will go into our pan, seam side down. Make sure to tuck the ends down so that they're flat against the side of the loaf tin. You'll want this to prove another 45 minutes to an hour or until it reaches the tops of your tins.
This is a great time to preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Just before baking, brush the top of your dough with some melted butter. This gives that gorgeous brown crust on the top. These are going to bake for about 30 minutes. Halfway through your bake time, give your loaves a spin in the oven so that they have an even bake all the way through.
If you want to be extra sure they're done, probe your loaf with a thermometer. You want it to read 100 degrees Celsius or 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Then they're ready to come out of the oven. Let them cool for about 10 minutes. Then take them out of their tins and let them cool completely before slicing. This recipe makes a lot of bread. It will keep in a sealed bag for 4 days on your counter. Or you can slice it and put it in your freezer for 1 month. Let's give it a slice and see what it looks like. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure to like this video. And if you're looking for another great bread recipe, check out my Hawaiian rolls. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. What's your favorite sandwich? See you in the next video.